Hello everyone and welcome to my channel once again. We are back with a brand new video on Google Sheet formulas, and in today's video we are going to be looking at another interesting formula, and we're going to see how we can use this in our day-to-day work and make life a little easier. Okay, so if you're new to the channel, I would request you to please subscribe to the channel. Please go through all the videos that are there on this channel, and do let me know what you think of them in the comments on those videos or on this video itself, and do give me some feedback on what are the kind of videos I should make within the data realm. Alright, so without further ado, let's move into the video. So we're going to be looking at today at the switch formula. So in many instances, when you have multiple conditions and when you want to assign a value based on multiple conditions for a given column, right? Let's say you're evaluating numbers, or you're evaluating an expression, or you're evaluating text or anything like that, and you have multiple conditions which you have to meet. So it's basically like an if else, right? So if this is equal to this, then it is this. If this is equal to this, then it's this. So it's basically like an if else kind of a scenario. But the switch formula gives two things here. One is the ease of writing the formula, and also the capability to shorten it as well. Okay, so if you're writing an if else, right, now what's the difference between using an if else and a switch? So in if else, you would have to write the same expression over and over again, right? You need to write the same expression over and over again. If this is equal to this, then that. If this is equal to this, if this is equal to, and every time you need to put an if of that nature, right? So we have something similar in that with the switch as well. However, it's a little slightly different, and you will see why that is the case. But this can, if you have multiple conditions to do and you do not want to write very big if formulas and things like that, this could probably help you to shorten that formula and use it in that scenario as well. Okay, so let's look at a small example. So we're going to be looking at two ways in which the switch formula can be used. One is going to be using another formula as an expression, and the other is just going to be multiple expressions that we are evaluating. All right, so in this table that I have here, so I have a set of roll numbers and I have a set of marks. Okay, let's say this is marks for a particular subject. Okay, so now what I have done is to assign grades. I have taken the following limits. So A plus is 90 plus, 80 to 90 is A. I'm sorry, this is supposed to be A. 60 to 70 is B, right? This can actually be 60 to 79. Yeah, 60 to 79. I think that's decent. 50 to 60 is C. 40 to 50 is D. And less than 40 is E. Okay, so this is just a criteria I've set for the sake of this example. All right, so let's see how we shall assign the grades based out of this definition to these marks that we have over here. All right, so let's go ahead and first look at the syntax of the formula. So we have switch. Okay, and now if I expand this, so I'm going to see the first argument is going to be an expression. Okay, now this is this is a formula you can write which you want to evaluate it for the truths. Okay, so you're only going to say, okay, if the value is true, that's when a value comes. So basically the first argument is an expression, and then you have case 1 value 1. So case 1 value 1 means, so first case is where you're saying, okay, if it is equal to this, then you have to assign the value. Okay, similarly you can see in the options with the square brackets over here, it's basically the same thing. So basically you have three values that you need: an expression, a case, and a value. Okay, and then you can add a pairing of case 2 value 2, case 3 value 3, and so on, as in when your situation demands it. Okay, so that's the way we're going to do it. However, in this case I'm not going to be using an expression. Okay, so there's another way to use the switch formula to do this kind, because the way we are going to do this is, so we are going to say if it is greater than 90, it's A plus. If it is between 80 and 90, it's A. If it is between 60 and 79, it's B. So you're doing greater than, less than comparisons here, right? So in such a case, your comparison criteria and the numbers also keep changing, right? It's not going to be the same expression throughout. All right, so in this case we are not going with a single expression. Okay, we are going with multiple expressions over here. In some cases it has single number, whereas in most of them it has the range. All right, so in such a case what do? Is we replace this expression with the true. Okay, and what does this mean? It means that whatever expressions you are evaluating for, here you are evaluating for the true case. Okay, you are evaluating for the true case. So if the marks value here is greater than 90, then it becomes an A. Okay, and so on and so forth, right? So if it is not true, it will evaluate all the other conditions, but then if none of them match, then it's going to give you an NA. All right, so let's see how do we do this. So the first case is going to be A plus, so I've put it as true, and then I'm going to say B16. So this is B16, right? B16 greater than 90. So this is my first case. So B16 greater than 90. So if it is greater than 90, what am I going to say? A plus. All right, so that's my first condition. That's the first case and value pairing that we are measuring for. The next one is going to be A, so that's between 80 and 90. Okay, so you can write it as two separate expressions, but what I'd like to do is I'd like to use the AND. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put both the expressions, which is basically greater than equal to 90, sorry, greater than equal to 80 and less than 90. Okay, so we will make this 90 and above 90. So 90 equal to, okay, so I'm going to say B16 greater than equal to 80, comma B16 less than 90. Okay, so now if this is the evaluation, the value I'm going to put is an A. Okay, so right now we have two expressions that we are evaluating for. Okay, and you can see one is already populated right there. So you can see here, first is the true, this is the first expression, this is the second expression, right? And if I just drag this for the second value, you see I'm getting an A plus over here. Okay, but if I drag it for the rest, you see there are NAs coming here. Why? Because we have not defined what the value should be. Right, here we have not defined what the value should be if the expression is false. Okay, or we have not defined a specific value for these cases. Correct, you can see now here A is populated, and here also there's an A plus, and here there's an NA. Okay, so let's say if it does not meet any of the two criteria, okay, you still want a value to mask those NAs, right? Because you don't want to see those NAs, so you can just say you can just leave it as a blank. Let's say I'll leave it as a blank. Okay, how do I do that? I just put the expression I need after all the evaluation. So which means if I'm putting an expression like this, whether it is a hyphen or whether it is a space, okay, so what I'm saying that is that my test conditions are done. So if none of them are true, then you just add this value in the cell. All right, so if I do this now and if I drag it, you see the places where the condition does not meet is replaced by a hyphen. Okay, I'm just going to zoom this a little more. All right, okay, so you can see that the hyphen is there, and that way you can understand that the values are masked. Okay, so let's go ahead and write for the other conditions. So and so I'm saying I'll start from here, sorry. So I'll just remove this and I'm going to say and let's close this, and 60 and 79, right? So B16 greater than 60 and B16 less than 80. We'll go less than 80. Okay, so if that's the case, this is going to be B. Okay, same way I'm going to write for the others as well, and this is same thing. I'm just going to, I think I should just copy this instead, it should be easier. So this is greater than equal to 50, 60, this is going to be C, and then I'm going to do this for 40, 50. I'm going to do this as D. Okay, same thing here for the last set, which is below 40. So it's just going to be one expression. Okay, so then I'm just going to be 16 less than 40. So that's going to be an E. And then if it doesn't match any of these, I'm going to end it with a F grade. All right. So this is my entire expression here. Right. So as you can see here, less than 50. Actually, let's make this less than equal to 50. So that becomes a D. Correct. So that matches our evaluation. All right. So if you can see now that we have all the grades filled, right, and everything is matching each of the criteria. Okay, so we are evaluating it for true, and then we are comparing multiple expressions and assigning the grade as well. So you see the formula is very short, very concise, and very easy to read. Okay, and you don't have to keep writing an if and worry about, okay, have I put the expression in the false or in the true or the brackets. And you can see that is the one of the biggest advantages is the brackets. In this case I have an and, so we have 2 extra brackets, but if you actually don't add any brackets, the only brackets you have to worry about are the first and the last. Whereas if you go for a nested if, you have lots of brackets and you need to make sure that the brackets are all closed properly and nicely, right? So it's a clean and concise way of doing it, and very simple to do it as well. So which is why this, you can definitely consider this to be one of the options where you can use to assign multiple values based on conditions. All right. So let's say what happens if you add a false over here. Okay, I don't think this is going to work if it's just a false. Okay, if it's a false over here, it's all going to A plus. Right, okay, so you see it works on the other side completely, right? Yeah, so that's how it works. But generally we use it for the true cases, right? We are using it only for the true cases because that's how the nature of the work is, right? So that's about adding multiple criteria in this fashion. Okay, so this is one way of doing it. Now let us look at another way of doing it, which is just right above the sheet. Okay, so I have this another data set over here, okay, which has got the flight number, which has got the source, which has got the destination, airline codes, and I want actually I want the airline to come here. Okay, we don't need this. All right, so now based off the airline code, now for those of you who are not familiar, every flight has this 5-letter or a string of length 5 containing alphanumeric characters which tell you the flight, right? So the first 2 characters are always the codes of the airlines that operate in the world. All right, so the first 2 letters are the codes, and then the number is the 3-digit number is assigned for based on which route it is going to. Okay, so as you can see here, AI, EK, QR, EY, G96E, these are all codes for specific airlines. Now I want to put that airline over here. I want to assign that airline against these flights because let's say I'm a first time flyer and I don't know what these codes mean and I don't know which one goes where. All right, so to do this I have already written the formula over here, and let's see what's happening in this formula. Okay, if you see this formula here, you see it doesn't start with a true, it starts with an expression. And this was the change we made in the previous instance. Instead of writing a formula or an expression, we wrote it as true. We wrote it as true over here, and then we evaluated multiple expressions, multiple formulas, right? If this is equal to this, or if this is greater than this, and stuff like that, right? But in this case, what we are doing is we are not adding the true first, we are adding a formula over here. Okay, this is the expression that we are evaluating for. Now what is this left A22? Left A22 is nothing but I want to extract the first 2 letters from all of this, and I know for a fact that the first 2 letters are always the codes for the airlines. All right, so if I do left 2, I'm getting the first 2 values, right? And see, I get all the first 2 values. All right, now this is the expression we are getting, so it's a true, right? In this case it's going to be a true because you're getting those values, right? Now when does it become true? It becomes true when you assign the alphabets that are there here and you give it its specific meaning. So basically you're saying it's a mapping. It's like a mapping, right? It's like saying, okay, I have these 2 columns, this should be equal to this should be equal to this, and so on and so forth. Okay, now you can use you can have a table like this I have over here. So you can have a table like this and do a straight VLOOKUP, and that's also going to work. But for the sake of this example, let's say I do not have this. Let's say I do not have this table and I need to assign an airline for this. Okay, so what I've done is I've put the expression where I'm getting this one, and now whatever results I will get out of this formula, out of this left formula, are those expressions that we are evaluating, right? So I've written, see here, AI, if it is AI, then it is Air India. If it is EK, it's Emirates. If it is QR, it's Qatar Airways, EY, Etihad, and so on and so forth. Right? So on and so forth. I have written the code and the airline associated with it, right? So you can see the various pairings of case and value. So case 1 value 1, case 2 value 2, case 3 value 3, and so on. In this case, if you see, we are not evaluating anything that's greater than equal to, less than equal to. So when you're using the switch formula in this fashion, when you're saying, okay, I have an expression over here, in this expression you cannot say, oh, if the result is greater than this, then it is equal to this, then it is equal to that. No, you cannot do that. If you want to do that, you have to do what we did the last time. You have to start your formula with a true, and then you evaluate all the multiple expressions along the formula. Okay. Whereas in this case, what's happening is you're already evaluating an expression, and if the output of that expression is straightforward, when it comes to equal to, right, when you're saying, okay, if this is equal to this, if this is equal to this, if this is equal to this, that's how this has to be evaluated. Alright, so when left comes AI, it's Air India, EK, Emirates, and so on and so forth. So if I drag this down, you can see everything is populated now because we have incorporated all the letters into this. Alright, so it will test the output for each of these expressions and see whether the given expression has a specific value assigned to it. Okay, assigned to it or not. Okay, so if the value is assigned, it will output the value. If the value is not assigned, okay, it'll throw an NA error just like it did in the previous example, or you can put a default value against it. Like for example, here if you see, I've put a blank over here. So after WI Oman Air, my test and case conditions are done. So I've just put a blank, that in case if it doesn't match any of these criteria that we are getting, then it will just throw a blank. Alright, so here were two ways of using the switch formula, with the sole objective that we assign multiple values based on the expression that it is being evaluated under. So in this case, we've seen a single expression being evaluated for multiple outputs that can be generated out of this expression, whereas in this example what we have done is we are evaluating for the true. Okay, we are evaluating for true, and we are checking for a lot of the other Boolean expressions like greater than equal to, less than equal to, and it is more on numbers. Alright, so these are two ways of using the switch formula. I hope this was clear. I hope you can use this in your day-to-day work. So please do like this video if you found this helpful. Please do share it with your friends, and please do subscribe to the channel for more such data related content that will be coming your way on this channel. So I want all of you to stay tuned to it and take all the help you can from here and use it in your day-to-day work. All right, so until my next video comes out, I'd like to say thank you and cheers.